Howdy folks, today's video is going to be a little different purely because I'm out for a hike. I thought I'd put this video amongst all my house ones. It's a bit of a change, but also to talk about the changes and different things I'm going to do with the future of this channel. When I get to the end of the household jobs I'm doing at the moment, I'm going to kind of call it on season 1 and then focus on different rooms that I want to get done as season 2 and just up my production skills a bit. I think they're okay, but they could be better, so I'm going to do that. Anyway, the channel's called Living with Adam, and I want it to be kind of like a journal thing. So I'm going to do it with all my hobbies as well, as best I can, especially the ones I do by myself. So things like hiking, camping, bushcrafty stuff, all my woodwork maybe, cooking even, stuff like that. Be all those bits and bobs. I'll just talk about it and share those things. I really want to do more solo camping this year. Last couple of years I haven't done any, so, well, I haven't done any really for a good few reasons. So yeah, I'll do more of those and we'll do it like that. So what I'll do today is, as I go on a hike, if I think of something to talk about, I'll talk about it. If I see something of interest, I'll talk about that too. I'm very outdoorsy, I've been for a long time, quite a skilled outdoorsman these days really. So hopefully you'll enjoy things I've got to share and tell you about. Well, first thing I'll start talking about, I think, is that I was planning on going for this hike tomorrow, but the weather tomorrow looks grim, whereas today is beautiful blue sunny skies, as you can tell. It's very cold as well. The ambient temperature is like 0, so with the wind chill and stuff like that, we're in the negatives. Now I'm going to be out of breath a fair bit today, because this is going to be quite an uphill jaunt for me. But I'm doing a hike. The highest point on it is called Will's Neck, which is in the Quantock Hills, which is in Somerset. And I intend to stop about the halfway mark, have a coffee, finish off some lunch from last night's dinner, and hopefully you'll be able to see me, because that sun is really blinding my camera and the cold is making my phone do weird stuff. So I record everything on my phone, so hopefully the quality of this video will come out okay. It's a bit different than being in my house. So here we go. But yeah, it's a beautiful, frosty, crisp day. There's lots of horse people I'm walking past, so hopefully we'll see some wild ponies in a bit, or feral ponies really. So I was just thinking, I hardly seen anyone here so far. And that's surprising, because the car park where I parked was full of cars and vans and stuff. There were loads of dogs, so I thought, I'm going to get rammed. I'm hardly going to do any videoing today, so I don't really want to do any videoing with anyone else in the background or anything like that. For multiple reasons, mainly legal stuff, but also I don't want to seem like a weirdo talking to myself. I'm quite happy to talk to people on a trail, and if they see me just walking along talking to myself, they might think I'm a little mad, especially when I do things like, look, there's poo. I'm happy being mad. But anyway, I just checked the trail app that I've been using. I've been going the completely wrong direction. I've done this several times now, and that's because you get trails like this just everywhere in the hills like this. It's all around these sort of areas. There's loads of walkie places and things like that. In fact, I'm following like a motorbike tyre track at the moment as well. You get down and about in bikers, motocross riders, stuff like that, horse riders, loads of horse prints everywhere and deer prints and stuff like that. But yeah, easy to get lost on these sort of trails, and by lost I mean just off the map which you want to be following. So I'm going to be checking that map a lot today, I feel, until I got onto like a more established trail. I looked at another map on Google Earth and it's just like a spider web around here. So that'll be fun. I like getting lost because that's where the adventures are often found and new discoveries can be made. So, see what we get. But this is quite nice around here, I do like this. Here's a little fun fact for you then we can talk about. So there's an old story about like when the Romans came to Britain for the first time. I can't remember who wrote it. The name's on the tip of my tongue. Well, anyway, he said that basically it was so heavily forested a squirrel can go from one end of the country to the other and not touch the ground. And that was true for a good while. But it's believed that after the Ice Age, that the kind of natural, if you want to call it that, because what does that even mean really? The kind of natural order of things here was more like a savanna grassland. So we had sparse tree cover, little clumps of woodland, but just generally a lot of grassland. I mean, this is all heathland up here, and that's another story in itself. I'll talk about heathland another time. But it was a bit more like this kind of layout, basically. A lot of open ground, little clumps of trees here and there, the odd one that pops up. And I think, from our current understanding, that's basically because of the presence of the megafauna just grazing and eating stuff, so it prevented that heavy woodland growth. And then when humans turned up and we started eating them all, just killing off stuff, the woodland grew more and more. So here's today's first sighting of some animals, some horses. Hopefully you can see them in the camera. I can't see anything because of the sunlight. But as I get closer, eyeballs would run at me now. They've seen and heard me. But they're quite tame. But they're still wild, so got to be careful around them. I don't ever like to stroke them or anything like that. Just watch them from afar. They're usually pretty chill if you walk close by them, just passing by. They're very used to humans. As I get closer, I'll take some better videos. Oh, there's more! Look at that! I like a horse. I do enjoy a good pony. I'll do the camera from this aspect for a bit. They are watching me. Those ones not so much. They're nice. I like horses. Oh, big yawn. So the difference between wild and feral, I'll talk about that while we walk past, is that a wild animal is a wild animal. It's grown up in the wild, it's had no human interaction. Feral are animals that are actually owned, but they live wild. So these ponies, I imagine they're Exmoor ponies looking at them, I'm not quite sure. Exmoor or Dartmoor. Well anyway, oh, he's a happy one. Keep that off camera, keep that child friendly. Oh no, he's happy over there too. I'll move past the happy horses. Oh, there's more coming up. So, yeah, feral, basically they are owned, but they live wild. And that's the case with these ponies. They are owned by whatever organisation looks after this land. I don't know who actually looks after or owns this bit of land here. But they're used basically like a conservation tool. And they graze and look after the area like that. So they keep down growth and maintain it from... It will prevent it from growing into a woodland, basically. And that's why it looks like this. Just like I said about earlier with megafauna and stuff, they're doing that job. Because ultimately, where... Oh, big puddle, I've got to avoid that. So where humans have killed all those animals, we have the responsibility, I feel, to take their place. And by doing that, we bring in other animals like this to do that job better. Because otherwise, we'd just be out here with strimmers all the time, and who the hell wants to do that? So yeah, that's that. Until the next interesting thing. I feel I should apologise, I'm doing my best, but it is really cold. And so I keep getting a really runny nose. I'm trying to keep myself presentable and handsome for you all, but if I end up with a bit of a salty dewdrop at the end of my frozen cold nose, I'm sorry. It's one of the reasons I keep stuttering a bit, just because it's kind of cold and I don't know, I've just got mush mouth going on. Behind my glasses, my eyes are streaming with this breeze as well. I'm going to be really interested to see how the video picks up all of the audio and stuff, because it's not heavily windy, but it's breezy. I have not used the camera like this before. Let's take this in for a minute. Bit of cloud cover come over. It's not meant to rain today, I'm not too concerned about it, but it's nice, beautiful. Just enjoy that quiet for a minute. And a distant dog barking. I've just come off trail a little bit. Among these trees there's loads of big old ancient beeches here. And just find loads of these little shelters. The kids have come up here playing. Whenever I come across these, I always think they look like old witches' huts that have been abandoned. So I always call them little witches' houses when I come across them. This is a beautiful bit of beech woodland here. And another fun fact, so I bought half a tub of rice that I had from my Chinese takeaway last night, but I forgot to put a spoon or a fork in to eat it with. And I thought, oh, well, I'm just going to have to shovel it in using the lid or something. But, fun fact, so, bit of bushcrafty, woodworky knowledge for you. Beech has natural antimicrobial properties within its wood. So you can use it green, and it's perfectly safe to eat with and cook with and all that kind of stuff. You will get tannins off of it if you do cook with it, I will warn you that. But it's quite safe really if you only use it sparingly in little bits and bobs like that. So what I'm going to do is find a nice bit of green that is live beechwood in a bit. So I've got my knife with me, I'll just carve off a little twig and I'll use that as my either chopsticks or fork later on. Now I am a woodland lover through and through. I do love me a forest, any kind of shape or form really. But I do love a nice windswept heath. This is a really beautiful spot. I'm really glad I came here today. I mean, I'm happy working on the house. It gives me a sense of purpose and fulfillment in a certain way. Not completely, but I'm happy to get it done. But you just got to get out. I love the peace and quiet out here. And that's what I really like about going to places by myself. It's just every ounce of weight is taken off me. Even if I'm walking along and I'm thinking, to me, going out for a walk or a hike like this is doing nothing. This is, you know, there are strenuous times, physical times and stuff, but I'm just working all the time, work and stuff like that, doing things I really don't want to be doing or don't enjoy. People I like, who I work with, my friends, of course, I love them, and I like being with them and doing this kind of thing with, but being by myself, this gives me a sense of real peace and tranquility and all those kind of words that I just don't get anywhere else. Just to be surrounded by the only sound of bird song, animals, and just my footsteps. And here's a nice little view for you as well. I mean, something like that, so just watching the clouds roll past. I'll tell you something as well. So in the distance I can hear traffic. And it wasn't until I went to America for the first time, and I was out in the desert there, doing a good week's hiking and stuff. And that's when I really learned what silence means. And ever since I came back from there, anywhere I go in Britain, I just hear the road. Sit there in silence for a moment. You just hear that low drone of the road in the background. It's horrible. I tried it just to convince myself it's a river. That makes it a bit nicer. But yeah, it's like in the mountains of Norway. When I was in Canada, I just love the quiet, love the peace. A good bit of the track I'm walking on at the moment is an old road called the Drove. And I know it's got some sort of historical precedence. I think from when I used to work or volunteer back then for the Forestry Commission, I got told it was an old Saxon army road or something like that. So probably something Roman as well, I should imagine. But it's got this really cool wall that goes along it. This bit is actually looking pretty run down. I took a picture of a really nice bit earlier. But I really want to go home and learn the history of this bit. This is pretty cool. This is one of the things I do like about living in England, is having all these historical stuff. And it's just a mush pot. Mush mouth. It's just a mixed pot, mashed up mess of all kinds of history and cultures here, which I do really like. So yeah, the Drove. So far this has been a really nice hike. Not far now until we get to the halfway point when I'll stop for lunch. Okay, I stopped for lunch now. Found a nice little stick. So there's my eating stick because I forgot my spoon. I've got my little Kelly kettle out. I'm going to make a little kettle of coffee now. I just bought like a 3-in-1 instant coffee. Now this is a 1 litre Kelly kettle. These work like a little rocket fuel burner basically. So I'll put the fire in the little tray down there. Put it down there. The breeze is coming from that way. There's 2 holes in the bottom so the breeze can enter there, get a bit of oxygen flow. And this is hollow. And so the fire goes up in between work through that hole like a chimney, and it boils the water, which is in like an outside skin. Now I'm going to put in about half of this bottle, a bit more. There you go. So I've got plenty of hot water from the coffee and plenty of cold water should the fire go crazy, or if I just want to drink later on. So I'm still a bit sniffy from that cold. It's not too bad though now. I bought a little bit of tinder from home, just some paper and cardboard basically. And I put a little bit of sanitizing gel to help firing along a little bit. And I've just picked a bunch of twigs, and really all you do need is just little twigs like this, at the thickest like that, no thicker than a pencil really. Just get that going. I'll probably do a video on how to do fires at some point. Be worth doing, I think. Now I've raised this up on a little stone, just so it's nice and safe. There we go. Hopefully these twigs aren't too damp. Oh, springy. A little fire chugging away there. Coffee ready? Somewhere in here. The 3-in-1 sachets are brilliant for camping. It's taken to work with me as well. But they never make the perforations right. That should boil up nicely. Boiling nicely now. Really missing a spoon now. There we go. Cup of coffee. Got my rice, and I put the little fire out. And just to show you how safe I've been. So, well, hopefully I can see that. I can't see it because of the sunshine. But I've put it on a stone. I've raised that off the grass, so that's fine. There's lots of ways of putting out the fire here. I doused it with just some water that I had in the kettle. I've got more water in my bottle. There's horse poo over there. I could have just piled on top. The ground is already damp because it's been frosty. It's been raining and snowing a lot lately. So the ground's quite safe anyway. But I always take these extra precautions. And you know, that fire is definitely dead. Nice and safe. I'll just let the metal cool down and then I'll pack it up in a bit. I am very glad I bought a power pack for my phone, because with the app I've been using for the map and all the filming that's basically just stop-start recording little videos, it is draining my battery and it's down to 30% and I'm only halfway through my little journey. So I've got it plugged in, charging, so I'm going to let it charge for half an hour. I'll let my food go down. And just to show you, perfectly safe. No problems with fire. Starting fires are easy. Any idiot can start a fire. It happens around the world every day. People cause terrible things with fire. It's all about the control and respecting it, know how to control it. So I'll just show you. There's my little stone I told you about. Hopefully you can see that because I can't see the screen. And over here, I've put a little bit of ashes and twigs that's still got a bit of blackness to them, and you could set fire to them again. I'll just put them on a bit of poo. I thought, put them on something moist, something that's not going to spread fire, because that's sopping wet. Nice and safe. And just to show you as well, I've got a little sheepskin pad that I sit on, so my bum don't get wet and it's nice and warm. It's not about being in uncomfortable situations, it's about making things comfortable. So like when I go camping, you dress and come equipped for the kit. And today I knew I'd be stopped and sat down on a damp log, stone, or on the grass like I am now. So that's why I bought my little sheepskin square. And it's just from an old ratty bit of sheepskin I got given years ago, in fact. I just cut a square that's nice and big enough for my bum, and that's it. So this walk I'm on is called the Lydiard Hill, Will's Neck and Great Hill, I think it is, walk, or circular walk. And here I am at Great Hill, I think it's Great Hill. And it's lovely views, don't get me wrong. Lovely views. But that's not the most interesting thing. Just at the peak of this hill, it's all just like shale and stone. And it looks like all granite stuff or something. I don't know stones. It's like going into the ground and everything. So it's natural, I guess. Walking on it. It's just weird, a bear patch. I wonder what the history of this is. Is there like a beacon here or something? It's kind of cool, but weird. This isn't the tallest spot on this hike either. Will's Neck is, and that's where I'm going next. Lydiard Hill's where I parked. So Will's Neck next. I'm just walking away from Will's Neck now, which is the highest point on this trail. Bit of a steeper climb than I was expecting, but it was okay, it was good. Not too exerting or anything like that. Anyway, I didn't do any filming there because there was a fella there with some young kids, a family kind of thing going on. And it was really quite sweet because he had his son, I assume his son, he had a kid, about 5 years old, still a boy. And he was explaining to him how DNA works, how it's the blueprint of your body, and what radiation does when it gets into him and stuff like that. And that he gets half his DNA from his mum and half from his dad. It's quite sweet. It's quite nice to see that kind of thing. But it's good. The other two kids were just running around playing. That was nice. Okay, just seen something new and cool. So as you can see, got the trail behind. And then we've got this ditch where the water run off. And that goes down, that's dug its way to a pond. I can't quite see it on the camera, hopefully you guys can see it. We'll see it together when we get down. So it's right on the edge of the heath, going into these woods. And it's got a big pond, and it looks natural. Yeah, that's natural. Let's have a look in here. Get in the shade. I've got a wonderful hat here now. As the sun's come out and the sun's always been out, there's the wind has died down. Oh, this is steep and going straight into the water. This might be a bit fun. There we go. Yeah, look at this. Yeah, as the wind died down, it got a bit warm. But look at that, isn't that cool? Definitely going to come back here in the spring and the summertime. Check this out. So a little fun fact for you. This water's really brown. And that's not dirt in it. I mean, there is plenty of dirt in it or anything like that. But that's actually the tannins that come out of the trees. So it comes out the wood, it also comes out the leaves, all that kind of stuff. There's a good bit of sediment in there as well, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, look at that dead one right in the middle. You can see that. I'll see if I can get right behind me. Just sticking out the water. Very cool. Oh, I love stuff like this. It's not too windy here. I'd expect almost to act like a bit of a bowl and for the wind to whip around. Which will mean, yeah, look at this. All this fungus growing up the tree and stuff. It's very cool. I've got to be careful now, I don't drop the phone in the water. See, this is what it's all about, exploring and finding fun stuff. Yeah, this is a good spot. Although saying that, I reckon it can get alive with mosquitoes in the summer. There's not a lot of movement in this. Oh well, cool find. Well, there we are back in the car. I would have done some more filming after I saw that pond, but there wasn't much more to see, to be honest. It was much the same kind of views and trees and all that kind of stuff. There's a few cows, could have showed you those I suppose, but there was a family there with a dog, and I didn't want to get them on the camera just in case they didn't want to do it, because you know, you've got to look after people's privacy these days, and that's quite right as well, to be honest. Anyway, when I go home, I'm going to look up like some of the history and the facts about some of these places I've been today, and I'll do a clip about that, so that'll be up next. Well, here I am back home. I've just spent the last hour or so having a little read up online about the places I went to. I found some interesting stuff. I could probably find out more if I looked further, but just for now I thought just for a bit of fun I'd look it up. Anyway, I wrote it all down because there's quite a bit and otherwise I wouldn't remember what it was and I'd just be rambling on. So we'll start with Lydiard Hill. Couldn't find anything special about that place. Basically just a hill near Bishop's Lydiard. That's the nearby village. Great Hill, similar, couldn't find much about it, just a big hill and named so. Will's Neck, however, found stuff interesting. So the name stems from a Saxon word Wales, for stranger or foreigner, which is funny enough where we get the name Wales, which in their native language today is called Cymru. I think that's how you pronounce it, I don't really know, to be honest. I've only ever read it, never actually heard it said. I've been to Wales loads, so there we go. Anyway, I found a note saying that there was a local tribe who supposedly fought the Romans there, so I can only imagine that means a native tribe, pre-Roman, pre-Saxon, that sort of thing. The site was surveyed in 1922 to 45 by schoolboys from Clifton College, led by their leader their teacher, led by their leader, led by their teacher. It'd be strange if teachers were leaders. I don't know, are they? That's probably a deep question. I'm not going to bother with that. Anyway, led by their teacher. After which they built a stone cairn which has been replaced by a trig point, and that's the big stone thing I saw there that the little boy was sat on, talking about DNA and stuff. I imagine this was just simply for map making purposes, as I couldn't find anything archaeological there to do with the cairns. Likewise, when I was at Great Hill, that stone I saw there, that was to do with cairns there. I saw some pictures, but I don't know if they're burial cairns or if they're just sort of more modern ones, so I don't know. Anyway, Grove Road, that's an interesting one. So it's a Saxon army route, or heer path, formerly known as King Alfred's Way, which marks his route to resist the Viking invasion in the 9th century. Also known as the Grove Road, as for centuries it was well used by local farmers for moving or droving cattle and sheep to market in Taunton. In places, the road dips up to 6 feet deep, which I have seen elsewhere along that road. I've sort of read that and I think about places I've been in the area. It makes sense. So it goes 6 foot deep, which shows how much it's been used over the centuries. The old walls that I said about, and that I saw, evidence of old hedge banks, because we've got the beaches along the top, and because the beaches are there, that shows that it's a boundary. So in Devon and Somerset, it's very common to see that sort of thing. I grew up in Devon, I saw that a lot. Loads and loads of places I've been in Devon and around Somerset for that matter, I've got that. I think that demarks basically the boundary of a parish. I'm not sure. That's that. However, there is one other thing I did find which I found very interesting. As Will's Neck is 384 metres high and Great Hill is 380 metres high, didn't find a height for Lydiard Hill, but I can imagine it's similar. They count as Marilyns, again I think that's how you pronounce it, which is a type of mountain standing 150 metres high regardless of true height. So from sea level or something, I don't really know what that meant. So today I climbed 2 mountains, who'd have thunk it? But there we go. So that's today's little hike. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully all the footage will come out okay, and the sound came out okay as well. I know that when I'm alone, particularly when I'm out and about, I tend to talk quite quietly. If it does come out that way, the next video I make, I'll make sure that I talk loud and project a bit better. Also, while I was walking around, I got to thinking, because when I am left in the quiet, I start thinking of things. And I realised that at the beginning of these videos, I start very mumbly and bumbly and figuring out what exactly to say. Whereas when I get in the flow of things, it tends to flow much better. So hopefully, as time goes on and I do more videos, it'll just be better really. I'll just become second nature and I'll talk more fluently. I actually talk quite fluently in real life, believe it or not. When I talk to friends and stuff like that, just people in real life to be honest, not a camera, then yeah, I don't stumble or forget my words that much. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Next time, see where we go.